All right, so check it out. This is Uncle Chris with another recipe of mine for Fat Dudes Approved. I'm going to be doing my shrimp cocktail today. Excuse the extremely zoomed in perspective, but I want to make sure y'all see what's going in here. For the most part, I'm going to be pouring everything in and telling y'all what I do. So hopefully y'all enjoy it. Check it out. I know my family loves it when I make it. Right now I'm sitting here trying to make sure everything is agitated correctly in order for it to properly pour out the bottles. Sitting here, I've got a couple bottles of Clamato, a bottle of orange juice. I've got cucumbers, 2 cucumbers. I pulled all the seeds out, that way it doesn't leave it super watery. I've got some cilantro, a little bit of green onion. I've got some sweet, about 1/4 of a sweet onion with about 5 jalapenos already minced down into this nice little puree. What it does is, let me go ahead and do this, start getting this out the way. So this is the onions and jalapenos. I usually don't build it this way, but I want to make sure that y'all see exactly how this turns out. My wife got me this little ninja chopper thing. Got to get a little bit better, a little bit nicer with it, but what's going to end up happening is if you do it too long, it ends up being a puree. Don't want the puree, that way you get the chunks. That's the reason why I ended up hand slicing the cilantro and the green onions. That way you get that as a garnish. All right. So what's going in right now is some frozen wild caught Argentine shrimp. It's about 2 pounds. This should, by the time I'm done, this should yield quite a bit. All right. Everything, for this, you want to make sure you get everything with the tails off. Tails off is crucial, because nobody likes to sit there and get that that dish where you turn around, you start getting in, and you got to start trying to pick all of the tails off and handle it. This right here is 12 ounces, small, peeled, deveined, tail off. Also got some of the extra small, peeled, deveined, and tail off shrimp. You know, being out here in the middle of a landlocked state, it's kind of hard to get all of the seafood for your seafood fixings. But shrimp is easy, it is quick, and yes, I'm doing all of this with all of the shrimp still frozen. Reason being, it's gonna help to keep everything chilled. Now, what I've done is I've diced up 2 cucumbers to about said consistency. Like I said, pull the tails or pull the seeds out, so that way when it gets all mixed together, it doesn't water it down. Also, what I like to do is I'll get the imitation crab legs. That way I can dice it down like, or slice it like this. And here's the deal with this. Now, all of this looks super plain. Not a whole lot going on. Like I said, we add a little bit of this here orange juice. Small bottle. This says this is about 10 ounces. I'm going to add about 5. So we're about halfway through. What that's going to do is give it a little bit of acidity. It's going to help it to cut through some of the fishiness. That way when it comes up, you're using imitation crab legs. So that's made with haddock, whiting, a couple of other choice fish that don't necessarily have a whole lot of flavor itself, but will turn around and lend itself to whatever seasonings or flavors you add. So added the orange juice. Also have some natural ketchup. What this is going to do is it's going to help it to take on that color that you want. Not a whole lot. It's a good squeeze. You're going to say, that don't make a lot of sense, Uncle Chris. It don't make sense when you're looking at it. But when the flavors marry together, it's absolutely incredible. For those people who say, I don't like the onion helps to cut through all of the tomato flavor for you to actually be able to enjoy the taste of the shrimp. So add a little bit of tomato sauce to help thin this out. Now, or not tomato sauce, but tomato juice. Had about a glass of that. Me, my family likes spice, so I go with the picante clamato. I've got a small bottle of regular because I have a big bottle of the large, no, the picante. The big bottle is about 64 ounces. Now, you're saying you didn't mix anything around, but as the tomato or ketchup is in here, what it does is it allows for the redness that is in the tomato, like the acidity from the tomato allows the redness to come out in the shrimp. That'll help you to see, hey, when it's cooked and it's done. That's one of those things that you look for, because when you start it, it does not really have a whole lot of color to it. You see how it's relatively plain in between the redding of the artificial crab legs or the imitation crab legs. It doesn't really give much color. Give it a little bit of time. It'll all start to lend itself to a better flavor. The shrimp and the imitation crab meat is going to take on that redness. This goes great on chips, crackers, just in a dish. I'm making it extra juicy to lend it that wonderful, wonderful flavor. That as that happens, like now, excuse my hound, somebody rang the doorbell. We got the cucumbers. Go ahead, put this in. We got the cilantro, the green onion. Don't want it to be a surprise when you bite into it. Be like, hey. Now, I'm not necessarily trying to make a whole bunch, but I did get a request for it a couple of days ago. And with it being kind of compressed and late, a lot of stuff that I wanted to do, kind of got to take care of home. So, me, got to take care of home, responsibilities. A lot of the bigger things that I do are food and ministry. Just so you know. So when you see me on the street, it might not necessarily be talking about food. I try and live what I say that I believe. I don't want to just talk about it. I got to be about it, because it ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. And don't prove it with your words. Don't prove it by running to the book. Prove it with your life, because your actions will say what you believe. But that's just a little bit more on Uncle Chris. But check this out. So right here, a lot of people will turn around and say, hey, that's enough. Me, I use seasoning. One of the seasonings I have is my own. It's that wonderful all-purpose DAPS. Delicious all-purpose seasoning. It has turmeric allspice. It has some garam masala. It has a little bit of adobo and sazon, because my seasoning is kind of representative of the many places that I've been, because food has always been relevant. Food is everywhere that you go, and I've picked up a lot along the way. Shout out to the people who helped solidify and load my palate. My father is from Trinidad. He got me on that curry. Mission trip to Africa has me embracing and loving all of the ginger, and being in that my brother is well traveled. He's kind of put me onto some stuff. Man, when I was overseas, one of the seasonings that we had readily available was some Tony Chachere's. Gives a little bit of seasoning, gives a little bit of heat. You know, all purpose. When you can't find what you're looking for, then you go for the things that are consistent. Because being in the middle of New Mexico, there's not a whole lot of Caribbean seasonings out this way. It's hard to find Asian seasonings. It's hard to find a lot of stuff. So you work with what you got in order for you to get the flavors that you want. But like I said, I have that DAPS because I mix it myself to make sure that I have all the flavors that I'm looking for. But you see this consistency, the color, the flavor. When you turn around, you start to pull it out. It's thick. Because I was smart, I decided to use this, not the ladle. Every now and then I have hiccups and brain farts, but you know, it'll all work out. All works out. But when you don't have the seasoning, my seasoning, you still can use Tony's. You can still use Sazon. You can still use the seasonings of choice, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. What I loaded in so far was just my DAPS. What I'm going to do is add a little bit of Italian seasoning. And the reason I'm using a little bit of the Italian seasoning today is because I want a little bit more of the flavoring from the oregano, the spices, a little bit from the basil. See, we're gonna sprinkle in a little bit of this. Just to cut through, change the flavor up a little bit. My DAPS, that allspice gives it the turmeric has a tendency to taste a little more heavy on the curry side, even though it's not curry. You have the allspice that gives it a little bit more of an earthy flavor. But depending on what the seasonings that you have are going to dictate to what your sauce or your juice is going to taste. But here you go, a real quick, hasty version. One of the things that also can go in here, a little bit of lemon juice, lime juice, and a little bit of avocado. The lemon or lime juice is going to keep the avocado from turning that horrible brown / gray / I don't think I should be eating this because it looks like mud. So I bought some avocados. Unfortunately, they weren't ready. They can't get cut into because they're not ripe yet, and it's not going. I personally don't like to add the avocado to the large batch, but I like to add it to the smaller batch. Reason being, the avocado gives it a creamy taste, and not everybody has the same flavor, the flavor palette or desire for it to be super creamy / almost buttery. I like it in moderation. That way I can enjoy all of the other flavors, because the green onion doesn't give a strong onion flavor, but does lend itself to a beautiful garnishing. So when you pull it out, and serve it, notice how the shrimp is taking on a little bit more of that redness. But yeah, now we'll just go ahead, throw a lid on this, let this sit. By the time my wife gets back, we should be good to hook. Hope y'all enjoy. Again, if you haven't already done so, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe. Greatly appreciated. You know, this is only something that's been going on probably about 6 weeks now. If you like more content, go ahead, reach out. Gladly look forward to hearing from you. If you got a complaint or a question, feel free. I'll go ahead, address it to the best of my ability. But I'm not a professionally trained chef. I'm not a professionally trained cook. I just believe that food should taste good. And as my family asks me for these recipes, I want to make sure that I share. Y'all have a wonderful day. Be blessed. Peace.